Welcome to Theia3D in Visual3D, part of the Theia3D tutorial series. In this video, we will demonstrate the interaction and functionality of Theia3D when paired with Visual3D, including opening analyzed movement trials in Visual3D and discussing the signals contained in Theia3D output pose-C3D files. Visual3D is a post-processing software that can be used to analyze and perform calculations on movement data in C3D file formats. Therefore, in order to open Theia3D movement data in Visual3D, you must first analyze a movement trial in Theia3D. This can be achieved by loading raw video data, opening the associated calibration file, and processing the trial, or by loading a previously analyzed Theia3D workspace. With Theia3D open and a movement trial analyzed fully, the first way to view Theia3D movement data in Visual3D is using the Save CMZ or Open in Visual3D option in the File drop-down menu. This requires that the path to your Visual3D executable file is set in the Theia3D preferences. This option utilizes a temporary C3D file to open the movement trial in Visual3D, which allows you to save the trial as a Visual3D CMZ workspace. Using this method, the movement trial is not saved as a C3D file before being saved as a CMZ workspace. The second way to view Theia3D movement data in Visual3D is by saving a pose-C3D file for your movement trial, using the Save Pose button in the sidebar or the Save Skeleton Pose option under the File drop-down menu. This can also be achieved by batch processing multiple movement trials in the TM Batch companion application, which also saves the movement trials as C3D files. Saved C3D files from Theia3D can be opened directly in Visual3D, as you would with C3D files from any other motion capture system, using the Open button. Once you have opened your Theia3D movement data in Visual3D using either of the above options, you can use the many tools available in Visual3D to analyze your data further. One of the notable ways in which Theia3D and Visual3D interact is through the automatic definition and application of a model template to your movement data, once it is opened in Visual3D. By navigating to the Model tab, you can see that a model has been automatically created, and by navigating to the Signals and Events tab, you can see that the model has been applied to your movement data. The Visual3D model makes use of the individual's anthropometric scaling determined by Theia3D, and uses 6 degrees of freedom segments to allow the predefined joint constraints from Theia3D to constrain the movement rather than imposing additional constraints. When viewing your movement data in the Signals and Events tab, there are several signals available from the automatically generated model. These include landmarks for the left and right heel, which can be useful for generating kinematic gait events, and kinetic-kinematic folders for each of the model segments as would be created for a manually defined model in Visual3D. In the rotation folder, which may be unfamiliar to many users, are 4x4 pose matrix signals for each of the segments that are tracked by the model. These signals can be interpreted with each frame containing 16 columns that make up the 16 values in the 4x4 pose matrix for that frame. Columns 0 through 3 are the first row of the pose matrix, columns 4 through 7 are the second row, columns 8 through 11 are the third row, and columns 12 through 15 are the fourth row. Theia3D data can be processed and analyzed in Visual3D in nearly all of the same ways as marker-based data, simply using the automatically generated model in place of a manually defined one. This means that many pipelines and report templates created for marker-based data can be used successfully with Theia3D markerless data as well. Finally, information about the trial and how it was processed in Theia3D is available in the Parameters folder, including the version of Theia3D used, and various other settings and preferences. Thank you for watching this Theia3D tutorial on Theia3D in Visual3D. If you have any questions that have not been answered, please feel free to reach out to support@theiamarkerless.ca.